than what the Chinese spend?
Of course, they spend 4 to 5 times.
Okay. All right, General Asthana, the Chinese have not only moved additional troops, but also they have brought in boats. There are permanent structures coming up there. You see vehicles and bunkers and whatnot, being sort of erected by the Chinese over there. I see that it's brought a smile to your face, but is this something that we should be smiling about?
It's not. The smile is not because of that. The smile is for basic reason that as far as the India-China border is concerned, it has not been signed by independent India and China. The border agreement was signed between British India and Tibet. Chinese only initialed it, never ratified it. So there is no border between China and India, number one. The line of actual control, we have our own perception of line of actual control, they have their own perception of line of actual control. Based on the border peace and tranquility agreements, we patrol up to our perception of line of actual control, and they patrol up to their perception of line of actual control. At a number of places, these perceptions overlap. And whenever they overlap, when Chinese patrol, we call it ingression or transgression. When we patrol, they call it to be so. And when we have flag meetings, normally the exchange of information is you transgressed so many times and I transgressed so many times, etc. Now coming on to the situation as of now. Let me tell you, Chinese were quick to make their roads right up to the line of actual control. Now we have woken up and we have started expediting the strategic roads to the line of actual control into our area as per our perception. This is what is irking Chinese maximum. And therefore, all these developments which you see, they don't bother us that much for the reason, and also this defense budget parity. I agree. They've got much more defense budget, they've spent so much, they've bought a lot of equipment, etc., etc. But the terrain friction in Himalaya puts us almost at par for various reasons, because whatever they've bought cannot be deployed there. Secondly, if you compare the land border as well as the sea border between India and China, they have much more border and they have much more challenges. In South China Sea, Taiwan and America moving around there and doing military posturing, etc., etc. So therefore, it is not India-centric only. So their increments as far as defense is concerned is not India-centric only. Now coming on to whatever they have done. See, they also keep doing their strategy, I call it as incremental encroachment strategy, something which the professor was trying to say. Because I've been writing a lot on incremental encroachment strategy, whether it is South China Sea or it is Tibet border. Now, in this, what has happened is, their strategy is try and inch forward, hold on there if you get a strong opposition, which they are getting. Because in all the transgressions which we have been counting, including propagating Nepal to make noise, etc., etc., and release a map, in all such cases, India had been quite firm. Secondly, it doesn't bother, even if, let's say, hypothetically, firstly, they are not in our territory, number one, as per the official version, because I have not been there, so obviously I can't say, but the official version is they are not in our territory. Secondly, even if, let's say, hypothetically, as per their perception, they have come and as per our perception, they are inside, doesn't make much of difference as far as we are concerned as soldiers. The only thing required is, if he has come and put some tents there, you go and put some tents there. How do you know that we have not made bunkers? Because we don't announce that we have made bunkers. But yes, there are developments which are going on in the borders. So therefore, it's not as if heavens have fallen. It's also not a Doklam kind of situation, because that situation was slightly different. As of today, the situation is that China is facing global anger. The Chinese population and the domestic pressure, which some of my co-panelists have tried to brought out, the problem is not you have to gauge the domestic pressure in a slightly different manner. China has maximum PhDs in the world. It's an educated society. The CCP is ruling only because they were delivering economically. Now CCP is shaking because they will not be able to deliver economically. And if they don't deliver economically, the voice for democracy is going to go high. And that is where the problem is. And the best solution they find, the CCP finds is that create a sentiments and create a aura of nationalism. If you are able to create that, then the entire population is with you. And then your protests and your other things, they get sidelined. So this is one of the reasons, not the only reason. And secondly, they also, Chinese normally give messaging. It is up to you how you receive that message. They do signaling by these border skirmishes and pinpricking you. It is up to you how you receive that signal. If you can see eye to eye, then as we did in Doklam, I don't think there is any problem. And as far as Doklam is concerned, I had an interview in Chinese media itself. And I told them, they were asking me all these questions. And I told them in no uncertain terms that if we, between India and China, we had a treaty that nobody will change, between us, Bhutan and China, nobody will change the status quo. Why the hell did you make the road? Now, in this case, the road has not been made. So it is not a Doklam kind of situation. But yes, we have to be concerned about it, that we are. Have we deployed our troops? Yes, we have. Are we monitoring them? Yes, we are. Is our air defense grid active? Yes, it is. Is our surveillance grid active? Yes, it is. Even a chopper coming there, we knew it very well when it is coming there. And are Americans helping us out in intelligence? Yes, they are. So I think we are in a reasonable position. And yes, as of now, the Western powers are also on our side. So it's not that alarming a situation.
And in fact, this says a lot of what kind of a reaction the Indian polity has had to what's happening at the border. The People's Liberation Army has been testing India's military readiness and political resolve along several strategic areas. Peace can no longer be taken for granted by India. I think that sums up a lot of the efforts that India has been putting in the Indo-Chinese relationship. We've had a couple of visits from the president also in the last couple of years. Where do you think diplomatically we are yet to appease China?
Firstly, as far as this tweet is concerned, I totally agree with the tweet. You cannot take it for granted, number one. Number two, let me address, your question will get answered as I address the other issues as well.
No, sir.
Firstly, somebody spoke, situation is alarming. It is a subjective term. Alarming situation is a subjective term. Situation is, yes, it was alarming in South China Sea because an accidental trigger can happen there. It is not alarming on LAC. For India, the bigger alarming situation is Pakistan succumbing to the debt pressure and POK, China taking POK in the bargain and therefore progressing the BRI, which one of my panelists was concerned with. So that BRI and warm water access, that is a major concern as far as we are concerned. And if China is in POK, we have a major concern because our strategic choices get restricted. So therefore, as far as border skirmishes are concerned, let me tell you in no uncertain terms, the troop density of India is always more than China on the borders as of today. Secondly, how do you know that the hard posturing has not been done? It has been done because a number of troops have been moved and we have also moved it. We don't announce it and we don't have to announce it. So therefore, let's leave it at that because that is something which I will not go beyond the open domain. Next part is, as I mentioned, the terrain friction is there. So therefore, many things get covered. As far as defense budget is concerned, now, yes, there is no doubt that their defense budget is 4 times in competitive terms. But what happens is that if you correspondingly say the defense budget does not, it's the force which you can apply at the point of decision. That is what matters. Like, for example, for last 20 years, the defense budget of USA is 4 to 5 times China, is 4 times China. But the problem is that today in South China Sea specifically, the application of the air power of China is more. And if you move out from South China Sea, move anywhere, China is no match to USA. But in South China Sea and in the Eastern Seaboard, China is a tough contender with USA because with the force of application, they can apply the force. So that is something which we have to understand as far as force is concerned. BRI, there is a problem with BRI. The Belt and Road Initiative is not doing as well, and bulk of the countries where China invested have refused to pay, and therefore China is facing a very serious problem as far as Belt and Road Initiative is concerned. The CPEC, I will not go into too much of details of the technicalities. It has its own problems, and it's not a free run, and therefore they have got another thing which we have to be concerned about. That is China-Myanmar Economic Corridor. Now that is also a concern because that is landing up in Bay of Bengal, and that is as crucial to us as CPEC because everybody was concentrated to CPEC because that is much more in news. I